Salam, Dr. Hooshang Amirahmadi. Thanks so much for accepting my invite and coming for interview. I really appreciate for that.
Salam, Rahim. Thank you very much for this interview and particularly for coming down all the way from Connecticut to Princeton, New Jersey in my residence and to hold this interview. It is a pleasure and I look forward to a productive time with you.
Thank you. So today I want to talk about more how Talysh identity right now in the Iran and Azerbaijan. And after Turkmenchai and Gulistan treaty, like if we look like historically, after that two treaty, Talysh split into between two empires, like Russian and Persian Empire. Now it's Iran, and they had totally different paths. And if we look Soviet time, they had a closed border policy. After that, we have huge differences. How you see these differences? Because you've been both Azerbaijan and Iran, and you saw both of people and culture.
Well, thank you for reminding me of that history, which I think is a very disastrous history in Iranian history and politics, and the fact that we lost that war in 1812 and 1828 and came up with Gulistan and Turkmenchai treaties that severed lots of Iranians' territories from the country, including, of course, Talysh. As you know, I'm a Talyshi myself, and I believe separation of a part of Talysh from Iran from the day one has been a major blow to Iranian power. I don't know why Talysh should be. We lost Talysh to Russian, and we just had to live with that history. But after the Soviet Union collapsed, I don't know why Talysh should have stayed with Azerbaijan. The two ethnic groups, if I should call them ethnic groups, have very little in common historically otherwise, except for the geography. And I believe after the Soviet collapse, Talysh should have at least gained a position close to what Nakhchivan got, that is, as an autonomous region, even if with Azerbaijan. But unfortunately, that didn't happen, and Talysh has been reduced to just another territory under the domination of the Azeris, that is Baku. And of course, Talyshis have never been happy with it, as I really know from the very closed up. Some years ago, I traveled to Azerbaijan, and then from Azerbaijan, I went with a group of my Talyshi friends to the Talysh region, Nakhchivan, Masali, Lankaran, and a few other places. And you could see, but you could hear the people in Talysh were really the same people as the Iranian Talyshis, and they had never really given up their identity, the same culture, clothing, talks, the language, and all that. I really was very disappointed that the Iranian government never ever really took that part of the country, that is Talysh, as seriously as it should have. Talyshis did revolt in 1992 after the Soviet collapse, created a republic, but unfortunately the Iranian government not only did not help, it in fact harmed Talishis by taking side with the Azeris. And I never forgive the Iranian government for that, never. But in any case, as Talysh stands, unfortunately, it stands between a country called Iran, that at least Iran of today, that is the Islamic Republic, that doesn't understand Talysh and doesn't understand the significance of Talysh in the Iranian history, and doesn't understand the significance of Talysh for Iran's territorial integrity and identity. Let me remind everybody, Talysh is the first original group that formed Iran. Iran was formed in Talysh and then continued into other parts of the country. Talishis are the first Iranians that we call Iranians. They are the true, real Iranians. Unfortunately, the Islamic Republic,
But
given its
let me cut you
ideological
here.
stand-
What you mean exactly? What historical part you mean here? Like,
Talysh is a part of the Caspian region, you call it Khazar or the Mazandaran Sea, that where the Iran started. If you go back to the history of Iran, you will see that even before the Medes that established the first non-Iranian dynasty, that part of the country was ruled by the Talishis. And then gradually the Medes established a dynasty, and from the Medes came the Parsis that gradually expanded to the south of Iran, from the sort of like west to the south. That's the Achaemenids, the Dari, Cyrus the Great, and that kind of stuff. So I think, unfortunately, however, that history is lost to most Iranians, and the Islamic groups don't really have any idea of what that is. Of course, the nationalist, the patriotic Iranian understand it, and I think they do value, and I know they do value the value of Talysh for Iran. So I think I am very disappointed with the Iranian government that has been very ignorant of the significance of Talysh for Iran in many ways, political, geographic, territorial, and the rest of it. And so the Talishis left in the middle between their original country, that is Iran, their mother, their father, called Iran, and then a group that came and took over them. First was the Russian, and then the Azeris, the Baku. Left in the middle are struggling as to what to do. Obviously, they have to continue their struggle for at least an autonomous position. As Talishis at least deserve to be another Nakhjavan.
what are you expecting from Iran? For example, there is so many criticism about Iran in our side, like in Talysh side, because they only have religious policy. They only pushing religious, and most of Azeri and Talysh people, even not religious, but Iran also have culture, which is we have same history, more powerful empire than Rome. So why Iran don't push that policy in Caucasus? Only pushes like religious policy, not nationalistic policy.
Well, that is a problem. Iran, I think there are two issues here. Even before this religious government, the Pahlavi dynasty was also ignorant of the particular position of Talishis. They were ignorant because of the fear of the Soviet Union. They had lost the country, the region to Soviet Union. Soviet Union was a superpower, and the Pahlavi dynasty was an stooge of America. And Americans were telling them that, listen, don't touch that part. We don't want any problem with the Soviet Union. So the Pahlavi dynasty did not take any side, any position on Talysh, as if Talysh didn't exist, never existed. You know, you have your part and I have mine. The Islamic Republic was even worse because they added to that past thinking of fearing Soviet Union to begin with a religious idea that did not see Iran or any particular part of the country as a container. They were just a contained, that is to say, it was the Islam that was the container in which coffee, tea, you know, all kinds of stuff could be put in. You know, it was Iran, it was Talysh, it was, I don't know, Gilan, it was some other places. So, unfortunately, Islam didn't have that view of nation state. They had religious state as opposed to nation state. And beyond that concept and the fear of the original Soviet Union, I think the Islamic Republic also feared that any change in the geography of the region would jeopardize the Iranian geopolitical position or condition or territorial integrity. They basically, you know, remember back in 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed, the whole area was up for grab. Everybody was grabbing a piece of it. Azeris grabbed it, Turkmen grabbed it, Kazakhs grabbed it, Gorgis grabbed it. Everybody grabbed a piece. And the poor Talishis in the middle were told, you are Azeris, so was grabbed by the Haydar Aliyev. But that was the time Iran should have grabbed Talysh. There was nobody there. The Soviet Union wasn't there, and Azerbaijan was a very, very weak country up in the air. Iran could have even taken Azerbaijan at the time. But stupid leadership in Iran, again, because they were fearful of any changes and they just wanted to maintain the status quo. So they didn't do anything. After, a year after, when the Talishis rose up for an autonomous demand, for an independent demand, Iranian not only didn't help them, actually helped even the Azeris to put them down, to destroy them, destroy that particular part. So Iran cannot be forgiven. The Islamic Republic for never be forgiven in my eyes.
I don't want to go away from that topic because I have to mention one thing. When I personally had conversation with Ali Muhammadzadeh, which is he led to Talysh Mugam Autonomous Republic. He told me we tried to contact with Iranian government and they didn't have any interest. And then we know Iranian government helped Nakhchivan Republic, which is led at that time by Haydar Aliyev, and now his son pushing policy against Iran. So how big mistake is that? How you see that mistake and how Iranian side understand that mistake? Do they understand it or not?
Well, for one thing, unfortunately, the Talyshi issue never became a national issue in Iran because the government suppressed it. For example, even in Iranian side, the Iranian Talishis started a movement, very nationalistic, or the Talishistic movement for the Talysh, for the geography, for the culture, for the language and other. The Iranian government would suppress them, even the Iranian Talishis. So they were, from the very beginning, they were suppressing the Talishis inside the country, and then they began helping the other side, the people in Talysh, that is the south, North Talysh, the Azari Talysh, the Baku Talysh now, unfortunately. They told me, as you said, they asked for the Iranian help. And I know for fact that that was the case. I personally was involved in some aspects of it.
How?
Well, I'm a Talishi, so when the whole thing that started, obviously I started thinking more in terms of Talish than anything. So I would go to Iran, and I would go to the region, and I would talk to many people, and trying to raise the conscience of the people about Talysh and Talishi.
And what was the outcome from that?
I'm sorry?
What was outcome from that? What was the...
Well, the outcome, I think it was great from the cultural and consciousness issue, that the Talishis increasingly became conscious of their history, culture, way of life, and the fact that they are an Iranian, group that have real claim on Iran, big time. But unfortunately, from a geopolitical perspective, from a political perspective, they were not successful to move forward, because the central government was against that kind of a movement. I remember long time ago, I suggested that Iran take over the Azari Talysh with war, anything. Go on, just take it over. Let's start a war. That's like 25 years ago. This guy is crazy. He's a warmonger. I said, take over and then create one Talysh, Iranian and the other part, and call him Talishistan. And then take the Talishistan, either make it a province of Iran or make it another Nakhchivan. Period. Oh no, you are a separatist on both sides. Oh, Iranian Talysh become Nakhchivan. No, I'm saying half of the Talysh is gone to begin with. It has nothing to do with Iran. This other part, you have no idea what it is. You don't take care of them. This is the best part of the country. In the one part is the Caspian Sea, and then the rice plantation, all kinds of orchards, and then of course the mountains and rivers and so on. But unfortunately, it didn't work. Although this idea of Talishistan really created a lot of movement in the Talysh, Iranian Talysh, particularly Iranian Talysh. And even later on, we said, okay, Talysh is a part of, Iranian Talysh is a part of a province called Gilan. That is the Gils and the Talishis are one province, and it's called Gilan. I told the Iranian government, I remember Ahmadinejad was president and he had a good relation with me. I told them, listen, this is unfair. Although I have no problem with the Gilaks, I have grown in the Gilakis. I know Gilakis. I live with Gilaks. My families are also partly Gilak. But there is no reason to have no name of Talysh in that province. Like we have Sistan and Baluchistan, one province. There are the Sistanis and the Baluchis. But in Iran, we call them Sistan and Baluchistan. Why not in Iran, we call them Gil Talishan? Gilak and Talysh, one province. Why should this province to be Gilan? Gilan is one kind of people, and the Talishis are not. Indeed, much of Gilan is Talysh. Physically, the Talysh part of Gilan is bigger than the Gil part of Gilan. And then I said, listen, it is unfair. And they say, Hooshang, that means touching it. But I have to tell you, until I die, I will fight for at least a change of name into the Gil Talishan. My original plan was and is that it should be Talishistan, and the Talishistan will include the Iranian Talysh and the and the Baku Talysh. They have no business in having Talysh. Have no business whatsoever. Historically, they have no business. Culturally, they have no business. Language-wise, they have no business. They have no business to have Talysh under Azerbaijan. I can tell you, if an Iranian nationalist comes to power in Iran, like a person like me, his or her first act would be to bring Talysh back to Iran. Back to Iran. Talysh must be back to Iran. It is the most important part of that country. Iran started with Talysh. Without Talysh, Iran doesn't mean anything. That's where Iran started. It's just like in this country.
Even not started, it came back itself, because if you see how Safavids started, it started in our province, like in the Talysh.
That's right. You see, America started with New England. This is this part of the country. Right. Without New England, America doesn't mean anything. Absolutely doesn't mean anything. Without Talysh, it's the same. Talysh for Iran is just New England for Americans. Without Talysh, there is no meaning. I mean, again, I am not propagating anything particular. It's history, it's culture. I mean, everybody can see and read it.
But what we see now, because we're coming that topic, let's forget about that, like what happened in the past. But what we see now, for example, Azerbaijani government pushing policy, like they have a lot of channels, media channels, and a lot of books about Iranian Azerbaijan, and they don't talk about Iran. They talk about South Azerbaijan as part of us. And also I see our national, like Azerbaijani state television, streaming tractor, like football club games. But when Talysh had football club, like Hazarlankaran was so popular club in Azerbaijan, it was literally movement. We never see any action in Iranian side. We see Azerbaijan take all action to claim in the future that's the Azerbaijan land, but in Iranian side we don't see anything. It's helping their policy. Like if Azerbaijan future have claim to you, you have claim to Azerbaijan also. So why you not pushing that policy? And what you see now, like let's say it's past, we forgot about that, all right? Let's forget about that. What they have to do now, like what is the emergency right now?
Well, Iran has a government that are extremely timid. This government in Tehran is timid, has no absolutely courage. It has been defeated. It has been hit by war, by sanction. This government is weak, extremely weak. The Islamic Republic has no support among a lot of Iranians. The government is trying just to survive. And therefore, its problem is not Talysh or anything. It's just to survive. Oh, don't touch me. Don't create problem. And yet, because of that policy, a guy like Ilham Aliyev, who should be a servant in Iran, he should be a guy that we will be, taking his head and going around. Okay? He starts talking about greater Azerbaijan, that Iranian Azerbaijan is also ours, that we should have we have to go one day to Tehran and Tabriz. Our capital should be Tabriz one day, as opposed to Baku and that kind of stuff. Because this guy faces a government in Tehran that is timid, that has no courage, that is not nationalistic. If there was an Iranian nationalist in power in Tehran, Aliyev would never, ever dare to talk this big. Iran needs a new Nader Shah, the guy who took the sword and take over anything that the Ottomans had taken from Iran, the Russian had taken from Iran, or any other. Destroyed all of them. In almost 10 years, he just won every war, killed all of them. Iran needs that kind of a person now. We have a timid guy in charge and a government extremely timid, actually defeated, and is trying just to save himself and herself. And one problem is, therefore, the timidness, the lack of courage in Tehran that have given so much courage and long to this Aliyah. The second problem is, as I said, Iran has a problem with Talysh. Let me be very clear. Talysh has half Sunni and half Shia. This republic in Iran is a Shia country, Shia religion. They do not like Sunnis. Iran has 7-8 million Sunnis. Talysh, part of Talysh is Sunni, the Naqshbandis and others. Okay? And the Islamic Republic never liked them. Even inside the country, they haven't really given enough resources to Talishis. Talysh is the most resourceful region, and yet one of the most underdeveloped part of the country. Because this regime doesn't want Talishis to become strong.
Why? Why do?
Because for one thing, they are partly Sunni, and another part, because a part of it is in Azerbaijan, and that they are afraid to touch it. So leave the borders as is.
Azerbaijan side is mostly Shiite Muslims, and it's
remember, the Azeris themselves are Shia. Okay, I believe proportionally, Shias in the Azeri Shias are more than the Talish Shias. Talish usually is 50-50. Yeah, basic. But unfortunately, this regime sees one Sunni but doesn't see a million Shia. They are so anti-Sunni. They don't like Sunni. Okay?
But even the Sunni, they have something Iranian. This is Iranian nation. They have Iranian mindset.
Remember, this is a Shia. This is a religious government. It's not a nation state.
So they don't care about anything about...
Listen, it is that's right. Iran is, for them, is a religious entity, not a nation state. As a religious entity, it's the place where Shia lives. If there is a Sunni or another group, it's just, they shouldn't be there to begin with, but if they are there, it's okay, ignore them. The point I'm trying to make is that this regime doesn't understand the significance of Talysh. It brings all kinds of stupid thinking about Talysh. They are afraid of Russia, afraid of, Baku, and then because Baku is a friend of Israel, afraid of Israel or America, they are just timid. Tehran is timid, and therefore it doesn't take Talysh seriously and doesn't put its support behind Talysh. Talysh needs support, active support, both in language, in talk, and in action. Unfortunately.
And it works for her.
Huh?
And it works for her, actually.
Absolutely.
I want to also talk about a little bit Azerbaijan also, because we so focused about Iran. Also in Azerbaijan, many people from us see big potential of Talysh people, because most of people saying we are between 1 or 2 million people, which is almost 20% of the Azerbaijan. That's second ethnic background group in the Azerbaijan. And how you see our society, our nation, Talysh nation, inside the Azerbaijan, can they take power? Can they be political power, or be president of the Azerbaijan, or be in the parliament and other political positions? How do you see that potential?
I think there is every potential for Talysh at least to become Nakhchivan, an autonomous state. At least. That is the least demand. My least demand for Talysh of Azerbaijan is to become an autonomous region. And they have enough geography, enough people, enough intellect, and enough history and geography and culture to demand that. Let me tell you one thing. I think Talyshis don't have less than what Azeris have as a legitimate right for a nation. Let me explain. I was invited some years ago by the Azeris foreign ministry to speak in Baku. What I did, I went to speak with the group of people that were listening to me were all from the College of International Relations, and these people were trained to become diplomats. There were like, I don't know, 80 or 100 people in the audience, and so I was speaking. I spoke about the region and all that. I remember at the end of my talk, a lady got up and said, "Dr. Amirahmadi, thank you very much for all this good stuff, but I have a question." I said, "Go ahead." Why Iran has our Azerbaijan and doesn't give it to us? This is absolutely. I said, "Where is your Azerbaijan?" I said, "Oh, the Tabriz, Azerbaijan, Sharqi, Gharbi, that's east, west, and so on." I said, "Okay, why do you think they are yours and that yours is not ours?" You said, "Because we are a nation called Azeri, and they are Azeri, we are Azeri. You are a different group." I said, "Okay, so you are a nation." I said, "Then do you have a history of a nation?" "Yes, we do." I said, "Okay, give me one name of a king that governed Azerbaijan." Everybody started laughing. He said, "You don't have a king? You never had a king and you were a nation? How about a prime minister, a president, an emperor? Until just recently, give me a name." They have no history. They have no history of a nation. Period. I told them right in their eyes, you have no legitimacy for a nation state. You never were a nation state. You were always a region of Iran or some other part. You were never a nation. You never had a king. You never had a president. You never had an emperor.
It's like Americans telling we've been here like 2,000 years. Like
that's right. So the lady shut up. One of them said, "Doctor, even if you are right, still, why don't you give us about Azerbaijan?" I said, "I think the best way is that you guys come to us, because we have more than you do. You are 7-8 million people. We have like more than double that number in our side. So why don't you join us?" This is honest, And all of them got shut up. They said what they have to say. Okay, but anyway, so the bottom line is, unfortunately, this kind of ideas never were discussed in the country. Azerbaijan claims to be a nation. Since when it was a nation? Azerbaijan never had a president, never had an emperor, never had the king.
The main thing is that Azerbaijan have never election. That's the issue. So, for example, how we can say Aliyev or Elchibey before that was legitimate president without any election?
Mm-hmm.
Even people don't accept their policies, like a lot of Lezgins, Armenians, Talysh people was against that. I'm not telling we have to destroy Azerbaijan, but if we don't have there like any election, if people going against you and you don't accept them, how we can tell this is legitimate government? So, and I also want to talk about Azerbaijan. It's only European country. Now we're in the OSCE, so partially it's European country. So only European country which arrested 6 academics from one nation, Talysh nation, because their ethnic background. And 2 of them is died in suspicious condition in the prison, which is Azerbaijan had responsibility about that. I'm talking about Nurzal Mehmedov and Fakret Abbasov. Across the Europe, no other nations have that kind of things. No other countries have that kind of issues. And why Azerbaijan government, Aliyev, afraid? Like, what scares them? Why they killing and arresting our academicians, scientists? What's the problem? Why they see us as strict?
Well, remember, Azerbaijan is a weak government. Unfortunately, because Tehran and others on the side are weaker, so the Aliyev starts talking big. Aliyev is a very weak government. It's a very weak person. He's a timid himself. He is a dictator that runs with guns, and that he has no legitimacy beyond his group of people. And therefore, any opposition, any voice that doesn't go along with his kind of thinking or his policy or his government position frightens him. So Aliyev is frightened. Otherwise, why should he arrest an academic, put in prison, and then kill him there? Beyond that, unfortunately, Azerbaijan today has money. It has oil and a lot of money. It's a corrupt government, has billions of dollars outside. This European government, the Americans, all of them are sold to money, sold to the Azeris money. And that is why they don't also speak out. And they don't also...
Russians also sold that.
They're all of them, they are after their own interest, unfortunately. But particularly, Russian at least say we are not democratic.
Yeah, right.
But American and European are democratic. They call themselves democratic. They claim to be democratic. They claim to be on the side of the human rights. They claim to be in the side of democracy.
But be realistic. We know that's human rights, their main policy, but it's not first policy. First policy is the safe West, like America and Europe, and it's understandable. But how you see Talysh nation can be very important for them, because I see that myself. Like, we are so important, can be so important for Europe and America for their policy. But what you see about that? Because no one talking about that. Everyone talking about that, like Talysh people, mostly like Iran and Russia, which is lie. No one helped us from the Russia and Iran. They make a lot of trouble to us. For example, Russia gave our 2 academicians to Azerbaijan, and one of them is killed. And Iran never helped us. But we can be good relation with Europe and United States. How you see
that? The bottom line, I believe the future of Talysh really is connected to the future of Iran. That is, Iran must change before Talishis can hope for any change. It's only unfortunate I say that, because Talishis are not strong enough to stand against this government in Tehran, against the Baku government, and then against all of these others that are around them, like everything else, the West and Israel and so on. Talishis are very, very lonely. They are very lonely these days. They don't have, even Russian, don't care much. So Talishis are lonely. Talysh needs a government somewhere to stand behind it. And that government can only be an Iranian government. There will never be an Azeri or Russian or American or European government to stand for Talysh. Talysh is not a player in the larger game. For the region is very important, but as a part of that larger picture, it is not now. Turkey, for example, has called that whole, Caucasus region Turkestan. They now call it Turkestan. Okay, it's a pan-Turkism. It's all taking over. Think of the Talishis within pan-Turkism. That's a very, very tough position to be. You have no support. Only if pan-Iranism was to take over in the country. If pan-Iranism was to take over in the country, then pan-Iranism is pan-Talishi, because Iran is Talysh. Talysh is Iran. So I think the future of Talysh, I would say 99%, will depend on what happens in Tehran. My hope is that the future of Iran is pan-Iranism. That is a different government, that a nationalist government, the government that comes out and say, enough is enough. Okay? You Turks, you Talishis, I'm sorry, the Israelis or this or that, Arabs, we are here now.
Let's be pessimistic. Because we saw a lot of historical things, like it makes us a little bit pessimistic. Let's say we couldn't do anything about Iran, so religious government stays there. They still can't understand anything about Azerbaijan. What in that situation Azerbaijan, Talysh have to do? What they have to do and what potential they have to do?
Well, first, I am not as pessimistic about Iran than as you are. And I don't even want to make that assumption, because I do believe and I see the country is changing, that we have come to a point it has become impossible to continue this way. I believe everything in Iran depends on the life of Ayatollah Khamenei. The day he disappears, I could promise you the country changes. But still, let me make your assumption of pessimism. Yes, let's say that nothing changes. Well, unfortunately, I have to say Talishis can't do much. Talishis are doing enough. I believe in the meantime, the best thing Talishis can do is to focus on their culture and create a consciousness about Talysh, not just in the region, beyond the region, internationally. That there has to be a Talysh movement internationally, just to a name recognition. Talysh. I myself always say, where are you from? I say, I'm from Talysh, Iran. I particularly say Talysh because I wanted to put the name Talysh in the mouth of the people. We need to put Talysh in the mind and the language of everybody. People the world has to understand there is a place called Talysh, just like the way the Palestinian. See, the Palestinian issue is very interesting. They destroyed Palestine, they killed Palestinians, but they could not eliminate Palestine. The word Palestine stands out globally as a tradition, as a culture, as an identity, as a people. And therefore, they can continue until a day that I'm sure they will succeed at some point. Talysh has to do in the same way. That Talysh has to get that name out there. It is that Talysh, that Talysh is a place, Talysh is a language, is a culture, is a part of a country. That is the country that Iran, for example, in Iranian history, Talysh has not given a lot of attention. And outside also, Talysh is just seen as a region. There are a lot of books written about Talysh that give Talysh that place. But unfortunately, the new generation has to do more than just, talk about it.
Talysh was in the governance, even in the Dagestan. Yesterday I knew about that. He was in the governance of Dagestan in Russia. Like, we not only was in the governance in the Iran, Azerbaijan, also in the Russia. So I think that's so important view of you. So
absolutely important. I am glad that Talishis are having media, they're having TV, they have really people. I mean, of course, I condemn Azaris to arrest the Talishi academics and kill them in the prison. But remember, that very movement puts the Talysh in the minds of everybody. Every Talishi that is jailed or killed is a step forward for the Talysh. You know, Talysh will survive and live and grow with those names, Talysh. And every Talishi must be that kind of a person. Every Talishi must be ready to die for Talysh.
Like Fakhreddin Abbas Sada said, that if you kill me, there will be hundreds, thousands of Talysh will be standing.
Yeah. I think it was Ho Chi Minh, the Communist Party leader in Vietnam, when the Americans were killing the Viet Cong, and Ho Chi Minh used to tell them, listen, every Viet Cong that you kill, 100 Viet Cong is born. That is right, and it was true. They killed thousands, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of Viet Cong, millions of Viet Cong came to fight back. All right, so this is the fact. Okay, remember
So that
the palaces, the fight between Talishi people and Azerbaijan is the fight between the people in the street and the palace. At the end of the day, the people in the street will win. The palaces will lose. Palaces always lose at the end of the day. Look at the history, the human history. At the end of the day, palaces have lost, disappeared, and the people have come to power. And I can tell you, Talishis have to keep that in mind. Should never, ever think that they cannot do anything, that they will not go anywhere. They will get somewhere. It will take time. There is, of course, always a midway, a straight way. There is sometimes you have to do zigzags. But at the end of the day, I believe the Talishis will win because they are the legitimate people, the legitimate culture, the legitimate language of that part particularly. And I tell you again, Azaris have absolutely no legitimacy to rule over Talysh. Absolutely no legitimacy. There is no connection, historically, culturally, language-wise, you name it, between Talysh and Baku. The only thing that has condemned Talishis to stay as a ruled people with the Baku is the geography. That's the only thing, but that geography is
Russian help.
But I'm sorry?
And Russian help with the rulers to them.
That's right. Remember, if it wasn't for the war back in the 1820s or 1810, 12, I don't know what, and between Iran and Russia, if Iran had not lost Talysh, Iran had not Azerbaijan, Iran had not Armenia. These were all Iran. They were all Iran.
And also inside Russia, we see like Russia helped Azerbaijanists take over us. Like we always was strong, but Russian powers pushed us over there. So it's not even Azeris like powerful or something. It's because Russia behind and Moscow behind.
Yeah,
what I
absolutely.
So
therefore, the way to move forward for Talishis is to increasingly work on Talysh nationalism. Talysh nationalism, Talysh as a word, Talysh as a concept, Talysh as a culture, Talysh as a way of life, Talysh as a region. The Talishis have to really work hard to maintain that particular stature, that we are Talishi, whether you are here or there, you are Talishi, and that this is your language, this is your culture, this is your way of life, this is your region. I think it's extremely important. So only then Talysh will survive and Talysh will move forward, I believe, in the future. Honestly, I don't see a future for Talysh in Azerbaijan. I don't see it. You know, you tell me, doctor, you are not being realistic. They are there. Azeris are taking over. They all control. I say all of this is, I know, I have seen them. I know that. I am also a realistic person, but I have a long view of history. I have a broad view of history. I have a strategic view of history. I cannot see Talysh in Azerbaijan, that is Baku, I mean, in a long term, from a strategic perspective. I cannot see it because I don't see any relationship. I don't see. At least they could have shown something beyond geography. They cannot show anything beyond geography to have Talysh. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Beyond that, as I said, Azerbaijan itself has an identity problem.
Yeah, true.
Itself has an identity problem. Twice as the Azeris in that side is an Iranian side. Azeris never had a king or president or an emperor. They never had a government.
It's also about some people say I'm Turk. Some people say we are Azerbaijani, not Turk, no Iranian, no Caucasian. Some people say no, I'm Caucasian. Other people say I'm Iranian. It's really big trouble. We couldn't become nation, and a main source of that because there's never election, never legitimate power over there. All the force.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Ilham Aliyev. That is not Azeri. Aliyev is Russian. Even the guy's name is identity problem. Even that dynasty has identity problem. Aliyev.
And they speak Russian in the house.
Yeah, but I'm saying Aliyev himself cannot say I am an Azeri. Azeri doesn't have Yof behind it. I'm so sorry to say that, but I'm being a little bit
true.
I am being a little bit obnoxious, perhaps a little bit, open. But what I'm saying is, Azerbaijan has an identity problem. It has never been a nation state, and it was made into a nation state only 30 some years ago. And unfortunately, if it wasn't for Iran's lack of courage, if it wasn't for Iran's timidity, Azerbaijan could have been also taken over by Iran as well. Not just the Talysh, but even the Baku. And go and look the history of Baku, Azerbaijan, Nakhchivan. I always think Nakhchivan is the most Iranian you can ever get. Talysh and Nakhchivan must become Iran. Must. But they will.
Thanks so much, Dr. Amirahmadi. I really appreciate having me and this amazing conversation. It was a long time I didn't have that amazing feelings. Thanks so much.
No, I think I'm glad that you liked it. And again, I did not want to sort of be very much non-political.
It was worse.
But again, I mean, I believe when it comes to Talysh and to identity issues, to culture issues, the nationalistic issues, unfortunately, it's hardly you can really keep borders. Again, I mean, I'm not saying anything that is against anybody. These are facts of their life. As I said right in the Foreign Ministry of Azerbaijan in Baku. I told them, you have no nation state. You are not a nation state. If you're right, tell me who is your king, who was your president, who was your emperor. You couldn't. I say that not in my house that I'm talking to you. I say that right in the eyes of Azeris in Foreign Ministry in Baku. Because I was right, because I was true. I had nothing to hide, and they had no response.
And I hope Azerbaijan people, Talysh people also will understand that. Thanks so much again.
Thank you. Thank you.